Wel a charsyn, ha einche tirach leirán seo sa bhela vic an straiehain, strat don tyfynier na dúcha. Ma chwlw seo, ha talach rynach I lónach, a chai hocaledás chiag ceir fichyd sa chia chiag. Sgachara simitach dawsa ceili aisan, a was an dala seo an oorsan. Ha tachars na heinche seo lesáriche gata, ha slóag is loch ciúl anichte cynnecha gus slói janab fertan toskaran cultarach is inemala a bhunyasta galapa. Fáiltearah go ceol dawsa. Well, upper Joe Hoshak Toshak shit for Graham Mitchell Isa Holland Downs. Zat a clich found an Graham Sorriche the Gui and the Heach noch and a dunecht lum a hay Robbie called. Robbie, I'm a wee bit starstruck, I must admit, to be sitting. I am to be finally meeting and sitting beside the great Robbie Shepherd.
I like this dunecht lum, is that Gaelic Doric?
I hope you're going to teach me some Doric words before the end of the night. This is amazing, Robbie. I mean, all these people have come specially for you.
You think it's amazing. I mean, I can't believe it. I knew that it, and I didn't want to, I hate surprises. I just hate surprises. And I thought I'd sorted all that out. But I come in here tonight to realize that what I thought was a surprise has been multiplied 3 times. So
But that's just a sign. That's just a sign of how popular you are.
No, can't I know? No, then I flatter me more. Right?
And I assure you, we have a few more surprises lined up for you before the end of the night. Go Graham Mitchell as a hall and Marchin Chin of Chishel son Dashing White Sergeant. So, Robbie, the music tonight has all been specially selected from artists and recordings over the years that we know hold a very special place for you. And one such person was, and you knew him very well, Callum Kennedy.
Yeah, indeed.
What was so special about Callum Kennedy?
Well, Callum gave me my first chance in the Tivoli Theatre on a semi-professional stage. I mean, I was just doing the village halls and things with a group called the Garlogie Four, and they were recommended to go to the Tivoli, and they tried to slot in something for our wee group, and Callum chose us, and I've been a great friend of him ever since. And the thing I liked about him, at that time, I had no idea how to finish a song, you know. I would sing a song and I would, and finish off, something like that, you know. And Callum was listening, and when we're doing the audition for that, he says, no, I'll teach you how to raise to get the maximum amount of applause from your audience. And I took note of that, just how to finish off a song with the four of us.
And we thought it'd be nice to remember Callum, and especially seeing you were loved his songs so much, and you're always associated with him. And here to sing them like yourself for the Doric, Robbie, a man who's a true ambassador for the Gaelic language. Nach Kushafalcha et Arshtmach Karamik.
Nol har chwantan gymafahar sate fwami chachwr aster môr y chwain y gyl am chri Sied ein maltram smin am fasje sawn y gyrag y chwed mi marach o chanaien ich gebrach mas besh se je Hamos moin chenoren am guske namo chatol hait luga haiten anet mochura mauns gachni sa piarse heil huntach namo hulen fat na hunye Chevi fainje nol ta junsi run mochri Geta hani shoer fundrag Haun en cheert of howl and till Sketan kwant en skul chetet mishesi She magurach gegal gachi gemavaher aun sechlachan Sevi gadish vinam valach bekerish Hamos moin chenoren am guske Namo chatol hait luga Haiten anet mochur mauns gachni Sa piarse eil huntach namo hulen fat na hunye Chevi fainje nol ta junsi run mochri
Kaplan. Kaplan. Cerwyd mi'n Robbie gyfle ffwlysach gyfle Jennifer Tor Raunsag ys feini mach Tor mi yn horens na pys yn cwle clwch i'ch yn sanconi stori eich mi yn na pys yn sco sgrifat coas a hanig orens groich yn myrsyn agos cwtioch lys gyfle ar y fi chimichol choffata a cynnych yn fa eich cwtioch rwta na hachar cychiel sy'n Jeff ar orens pys yn cwl cwtioch so ha hwle cael ysyn ga i'n y gymas orach am ysmyn i'n mar chwlytar. Wel Robbie gyda misal yn China Callum Kendi agos mara fa mi hyn so fa mismwr ac ymwyd yn China Callum agos fa amser gyda e tawg Jeff ar oren agos siwn i fi onar fa i giri oren y sefyrl o darloch na garach mar is duine chan bhím sé séine chas a gaach so hegan dúsin dá áan a bheith inimal ag Callum má bháthair agus fici a gráis so sé sinna gabhí nach agus agus má bhí ann suas a más spéisi healtanta Robbie chins hair tóir mór up a dhéanamh sin ceolta dusin den halba chud a dúirt.
Fici a gráis tú gach mi búlach den súnd mi seolag an drast ar sal Australia núl Hanna eiche fluch fuars mi chuas ga cúmal chúrs Stúdun an am smuain a luaib an ghealich An ghealich neachúntach maicne gach lá Mi seolag a chuain gach uair gam scarag at graag Sma veru am fuas nach dual got aine gebrach Gym faich du letul a rún nach adfys mislan Chofatsich minul bitul am chileg an awl Van gach mi marún fachúrs am ballen an gaul Is héitsin lesúnt an óla gwyisht nam biawn Far am fai mi ost cod le pos y ciegal chawn Ma jef mi ost cod i'r bioch a fi ar inji Gen gianin gwytlon gylior mŵr agos chyd Sged here yn slwag a lwain nach gianin gwtni Gen togin y gwtbar y graig et smarich y mi Smarich mi haski troch chwain En jemat a chachis ciarni jes agis tua Chan ach gymi awn chegalt a heseg rwyd suas A fen an dulcevan Chayarach yn y ysg nam bwag Nish sgwyd mi jantan mym ffas Shefwyle ieski Gyntyg shef machas min drast Choffate fo hir Ach yn rwyd ham I gyrach Gybrach gynnachich mi Teftualoch a charn ein y garich e carin mochri A fiti e gerais du gach mi bwlach gynswnd Mi siolag yn drast ar sal Australia nŵl Hanaiche fluch fuars mi huas ga cwmal chwrs Stwdyn an am smwain y lwaif on ialich
Dadley.
Take the Floor and Robbie's programmes have always been right at the forefront. It's the biggest export of our music and it's consistently on every week. And Robbie's northeast voice and Robbie's character is always associated with it. It's part of the show. Ever since I was born, and I can remember it was always Robbie speaking, and that was kind of part of Saturday nights really. Tuning in to Take the Floor, and as I say, just institutional.
Hi, Robbie, my old friend. We've been pals for nearly 40 years. So congratulations on this great occasion. And it's hi and goodbye from me and my wee pal here.
All the best, Robbie.
Well, our next guests are without doubt three of the finest exponents of the Bothy ballad tradition. Starting with the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre, please welcome Joe Aitken, Georgie Murison and Jim Taylor.
A turtle craft upon the hill, iron and yoke fish brought his mill, trying how his life the time to kill. Lived Geordie McIntyre, he had a wife as sweet some sail. A daughter as black sal Nickham sail. They had some fun, had a war the smell at the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre. For the grape was tint, the besom was dean, the bar wouldna row its lean, and sickin' a sauce that never was seen as the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre. The daughter she'd to stray and neep, the old wife started to swipe the grape, when Geordie fell sklight on a rotten neep at the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre. Ben the grape come Geordie's Sue, she stood up a hen the coo kick it out, off at a stew at the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre. For the grip was tint, the besom was dean, the bar wouldna row its lean, and sickin' a sauce that never was seen as the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre.
The old wife she was booing down, the Sue got kicked on the crown, shoved her head up the wife is gone, then bent through Geordie's Byre. The daughter come through the barn door, seeing her mother let out a roar, to the midden she ran and fell over the boar at the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre. The grape was tint, the besom was dean, the bar wouldna row its lean, and sickin' a sauce that never was seen as the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre. The boreal up the midden dyke, and o'er the rigs with Geordie's tyke, they both ran onto a Bumby's bike at the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre. The cocks and hens began to crop, and all Betty has tried to sue they saw. The postie shalty ran awa for the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre. Oh, the grape was tint, the besom was dean, the bar wouldna row its lean, and sickin' a sauce that never was seen as the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre. Now 100 years have passed or mair, whar sprotties was the hill is bare. So the crafts awa and you'll see nae mair o' the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre. His folks a deed and a wall on sign,
Aye, in case his memory he should tine.
just fussle this tune to keep ye in mind o' the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre. Oh, the grape was tint, the besom was dean, the bar wouldna row its lean, and sickin' a sauce that never was seen since the Muckin O'Geordie's Byre.
I kind of got started with the Bothy tradition just because I was brought up on a farm, and before I got it I used to listen to the 78 records that my father happened to hear. It was Harry Gordon and Will Fife and stuff like that. That's where I got a start. And my sister, she was quite musical, so we sort of had tunes and there was songs going on, but and there wasn't much else to do. We had no television in that time, so that was it.
As I come in been either dale at Taramirket 40 feet, I fell in with a firmer chill for the bar and years at Elgety. Lintonaddy, Turinaddy, Lintonaddy, Turinay, Linton, Lauren, the bar and years at Elgety. He promised me the twa best horse you ever set your in upon. When I get him to the barn years, there was nothing there but skin and bone. Lintonaddy, Turinaddy, Lintonaddy, Turinay, Linton, Lauren, the bar and years at Elgety. The old old black horse lay on his rump. The old fight mare lay on her wame, and that I could hop and cry. They wouldn't arise at yoke and time.
Lintonaddy, Turanaddy, Lintonaddy, Turanay, Linton loadin', 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 the barn yards of Delgatty.
No Jideriak, she marks my bed, she lies atween me and the wa. She strikes down my curly bow. Buchan laddie, come awa.
Oh, Lintonaddy, Turanaddy, Lintonaddy, Turanay, Linton loadin', 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 the barn yards of Delgatty.
No walking to the kirk on a Sunday, bonny's a bonny lass I see, sit and be her faither side, winking o'er the pews at me.
Oh, Lintonaddy, Turanaddy, Lintonaddy, Turanay, Linton loadin', 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 the barn yards of Delgatty.
Now some can drink and they get drunk, and some can feast and they be slain, but I can court another man's lass, and I be welcome to my end.
Oh, Lintonaddy, Turanaddy, Lintonaddy, Turanay, Linton loadin', 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 the barn yards of Delgatty. McConnell knew it is Bruntoot, the snother's fairly on the wane.
Congratulations, Robbie Shepherd.
The Doric voice that we are care.
Lintonaddy, Turanaddy, Lintonaddy, Turanay, Linton loadin', 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 the barn yards of Delgatty.
Well, good shara, Horshik, the Navastaya Shokayum, Shinakav, Joe Aitken, Georgie Murison, as Jim Taylor. Now, Robbie, the next band features a few faces that you know very well. On accordion, we have Graham Mitchell. Also on accordion, well, Graham's got a few fans in here tonight. Also on accordion, your Take the Floor producer and boss, Jennifer Cruikshank. Jennifer's husband, Brian Cruikshank, on bass. And that's not all. Making up our very talented family band are Graham's children, Lisa Mitchell on fiddle, Neil Mitchell on drums, Callum Cruikshank on piano, and Iona Cruikshank on fiddle.
think we can all remember listening to Robbie. Lots of generations have listened to Robbie, just talking about the music, loving the music. I mean, for me, he totally inspired me to play. When I think I was 11 or 12, I heard Silly Wizard on Take the Floor on a Saturday night with my parents, and I'd never heard them at all. We'd heard them at Callum's, and it changed my life. It got me listening to Phil Cunningham and playing the concertina in a way that I never would have thought to, and that's all down to Robbie.
Good evening, Robbie. I'm very sorry that I can't be there to share in this celebration. It's a much-deserved celebration, but actually, I've got another gig. And it's with someone that you know, Walter Blair, my old head of music. And it's actually through Walter that I got to meet for the first time the person that we both greatly admired and whom we have talked about endlessly over the years, Kenneth McKellar. He used to come to school to rehearse with Walter prior to concerts and recordings. And I've thoroughly enjoyed being on your programme over the years, talking about Kenneth and his wonderful artistry and his beautiful voice. And I thought, what better way than sharing that mutual respect for him than presenting you with this song on this night. It's his own arrangement of My Ain Folk.
Far frae my hame I wander, but still my thoughts return to my ain folk over yonder in the sheeling by the burn. I see the cosy ingle and the mist abune the braes, and joy and sadness mingle as I list some old world lay. And it's so that I'm longing for my ain folk, though they be but lowly, poor and plain folk. I am far across the sea, but my heart will ever be at home in dear old Scotland wi' my ain folk. A bonny lass's greeting, though she strives to stay the tears, sweet will be our meeting after mony weary years. Soon my fond arm shall embrace thee, as I call thee ever mine. Still abides the love I told thee, the days of auld lang syne. And it's so that I'm longing for my ain folk, though they be but lowly, poor and plain folk. I am far across the sea, but my heart will ever be at home in dear old Scotland with my ain folk.
Well, Robbie, we're coming towards the end of the evening, but we're not quite done yet. The great Shetland fiddler Willie Hunter is another of your musical heroes, and I believe there is one tune of Willie's that is particularly special for you, Robbie, Leaving Lerwick Harbour. It gives me great pleasure to introduce one of our finest fiddlers playing Willie Hunter's Leaving Lerwick Harbour. Please welcome Marie Fielding. Sinach Maca Marie Fielding, I see fine tight for Tom or at a piano. Robbie, I'm sure you enjoyed that. And I'm afraid our evening is almost at an end. But before you finish, I'd like you all to be upstanding, because I want you all to raise your glasses to the one and only Robbie Shepherd. Hasinia Callum Towns, Luchach Carrier, a Hrinach at an Arstonwa, Sat Chishal son a set Magirig a Huiking. Marshin, Bishop Chishal, Shinshiv, and as you'd say yourself, Robbie. From me, we're looking for you, and all the best till then.
chéilí na planúre a tín bio a talabhla fartig am líonas agus a miscan look. Císe bhólar an ar san fáilte bhór chríal a chur dáhíle sa céirtíag le capaní góil agus móil.
We also have a pair of alms dishes here. These are actually made in London in 1674.
Right.
Now, what I have to ask you is, are these used on a regular basis?
Yes,
or?
so they are. Yes, they're used week by week. All these pieces are.
All these pieces.
But they're kept under very tight security in the cathedral. They're well and securely locked away.
I was just going to say to you that something as special as these really should only be used on special occasions.
Right.
And because these are so early,